It's October 19th, 2021. You could say I'm a little pissed about something. Yesterday, the sheriff of Monterey County, Steve Bernal, announced that he would be retiring at the end of his term next year. So he's going to be in office for a while longer, for those of you that don't like him. But the media comes out and says, it's like his term has been wrought with controversy and things along those lines. I'm like, how so? And they bring up a couple of people that escaped after all the construction that was going on. I guess, a couple of guys got out of the jail. That's like, what, did Steve actually hand him the keys and said, hey fellas, just go and take off in the middle of the night? No, he didn't. The people at the sheriff's office and at the jail are a professional group of individuals that have done a pretty outstanding job, considering the fact that you've got a board of supervisors that's stacked against anything law enforcement. They've cut funding, they've cut staffing. You go back to what staffing was years ago, 15 years ago, and I don't think it's even close. But then I take and look at the gripes that people had were related to the California Sheriff's Convention that they had in Monterey. It's been in Santa Barbara and other places before. But they're trying to say that, Sheriff Bernal had done something wrong in some way, shape, or form. But the district attorney of Monterey County said there's not proof beyond a reasonable doubt that he committed any crimes. The district attorney's office and Pacchione's team tried to forward it to the state attorney general, and they declined to take the case. That tells me a lot right there. I mean, and when you consider who's at that level, that would love to take out someone I would consider kind of conservative on the Republican leaning side of the fence, like Bernal, a guy that he issues after, background checks and so forth, because I know people that have gotten concealed carry permits while he's been in office. And they've gone through pretty extensive background checks. Some of them, one person I know, he just forgot something that he did when he was like 16, 17 years old. And they said, nope, sorry, not gonna let you have it. And Supervisor Phillips considered it a political maneuver when they tried to, go after Bernal and censure him. Luis Jaleo was the band leader on that one. And here's a guy who's got a lot of nerve to talk about things like this. But one of the things that come back to haunt you, I was reading in the Herald story related to that convention, the sheriff's convention. It was held in Monterey. Jaleo said, the deputies were acting as Uber drivers. Kind of made me want to ask Supervisor Alejo how come he didn't call an Uber driver the night he drove home at 2 times the legal limit. Got a DUI, was arrested by CHP. Did he get censured for being convicted of drunk driving? No. Because I don't think there's anybody on the board of supervisors that has the sack to bring that one up on, put it on the table. And then Alejo said that if I were to do the same thing, I would be in jail right now. Well, let's go back over Luis's DUI. The CHP gave him a ride to the station. He made a phone call and he got a ride home with someone. That was counted as 1 day in jail. While he was at 2 times the legal limit, which is an enhancement under the state of California laws. And then the other second day of his supposedly going to jail, I guess he went to a work furlough place at like 6 o'clock in the afternoon, in the evening, and he signed in and then he was gone. Never had to spend a day in jail. Never went to B wing, C wing, holding cell, printed at the jail. Nothing. So yeah, I would have been in jail right now. Oh, bullshit, Luis. And then to make matters worse, after he came out and publicly admitted that he had done something wrong and released a statement, the DA saw fit to drop the enhancement charges on his DUI, so, he didn't have to pay those penalties. So when I see stuff like this, it just burns me, because for the last 7 years while Bernal's been there, there's been a couple of issues, but there has been in every sheriff that I can go back over time. I mean, nothing compared to the last sheriff. If you go back to Miller, I think one of the first things he did was his SWAT team went in and they burned a building down in South County, and the wrong suspect, and the guy ended up dying of smoke inhalation. And then you go to Miller's house, and he had his son living under his roof, smoking meth, selling drugs, narcotics on scene. This guy's supposed to be the top cop of Monterey County. And then there was another arrest after that with his son still living at the house, and there was some things taken from Silomar, and just all kinds of crazy stuff. He had a undersheriff that was medically retired from Bureau of Narcotics Enforcement. In his own words, his brain would go right and his body would go left. This is a guy that shouldn't be holding a gun or driving a police car, but there he was working for Miller. And you just go down the laundry list, and then the philandering, things, and the rumors, and somebody's wife got kissed. I'm not going to talk about a dead guy, a really nice dead guy, by the way. And I'm not going to talk about his family, but there's, that kind of crap. And it's like, oh, is that acceptable? So there's always what you might consider shenanigans, but from what I could see sitting on the outside, I don't see how it's gotten worse at the sheriff's department since Bernal's been there. Even considering that people on the board of supervisors, led by Alejo, have done everything they could do at every turn to get him, ousted or make him look bad, while they're the ones that are holding the purse strings and holding the rest of us hostage when it comes to getting a call. You might have 5 people in this county working as deputies on any given night, if that, and they're supposed to respond to things that are an hour away, or one deputy has to go and deal with the problem. So I thank Sheriff Bernal for taking the challenge. I thank him for getting reelected by a 2-to-1 margin, which tells me a lot more about him than someone like Alejo. Yeah, I've appreciated the lack of controversy, because you're always going to have things that happen. And if you can go Google things on the internet, and you'll just go, things happen. But in this case, nothing happened, but the news is trying to make it sound like there's some negative light here. I think it's just time that people just let somebody ride off into the sunset. If you don't like them, you don't like them. But, don't try to make crap up about them. Anyways, I'm ranting here, and it just bugs the shit out of me, because I think he's a nice guy, and I think he's done a great job. And the naysayers, be damned. Peace out.